Well, I thought this could be an interesting idea for a video. So, a lot of people were talking about the Chiefs tackles and the Chiefs offensive linemen, and a lot was kind of made towards, especially the first half. It didn't go well, right? The offensive line was not holding up against this really good 49ers pass rush. That's just what was happening. At the same time, though, the offense did go from just scoring 3 in the first half to being able to score 16 in the second half and to be able to score 7 in overtime. The tackles did hold up a lot better as the game went on. So what happened? Well, first, you got to just give credit to the tackles, Jawan Taylor and Donovan Smith. Like, they both started playing better. I mean, here, they're both one-on-one on this play. And watch as when it begins. I mean, listen, no Nick Bosa, in the game, and that's something they did is when Nick Bosa wasn't there, they certainly made an effort to use those as opportunities for their tackles to have one-on-one matchups, and you better believe that we're also throwing the ball in those situations. But also, hey, I don't know, Smith's still going up against Chase Young. It's not the easiest matchup in the world. But you see that they're both able to hold up long enough that Mahomes has time to make his throw. So, okay, that was one element. Is just the tackles themselves were able to step it up. And I thought they played better in the second half because that is how it works, right? I feel like we always view quarterbacks as like, oh yeah, maybe they played poorly in the first half, but they played better in the second half. Well, all positions can do that, and I think the tackles did that to some degree. But that wasn't the only thing. In fact, one thing is like, okay, listen, I gotta mention this. This is just what I saw on film. I talk about what I see on film. Play like this. So it's gonna be a stunt on Donovan Smith's side here. As you see when it begins, stunt works out well. The interior defensive lineman gets through, and you see Donovan Smith's right hand right here. I mean, he's not even really hiding it. He's grabbing on to the chest area. Watch him really just hold right there. I mean, that's obviously a hold. Mahomes picks up the first down on that play. Like, that's what that was. You might be wondering, was this called a penalty? No, it wasn't. And I'm sure 49ers fans will be upset about that. I view it a little bit differently, though. Like, listen, you're a tackle. You're getting beat pretty badly in this game, but you also notice that, you hold a couple times and it's not getting called. Well, what should you do? You should keep holding, right? Like, that's on the refs. That's not on you. Like, that's smart football, in my opinion, of, oh, they're letting you hold in this game. Well, then hold. You'd be a fool not to hold in that situation. Part of being an offensive lineman is and always will be getting away with what you can get away with, and that's what I thought Donovan Smith did in that game. So, listen, I get that's going to be, a 49ers fan is going to be frustrated that, the Chiefs got a field goal drive on that one. There was a clear hold. At the end of the day, get away with what you get away with. I think to me, that's smart football by Donovan Smith. What also is smart football is what the Chiefs were doing, just, X's and O's wise to, try to counter this pass rush. So something like, watch Travis Kelce. It's a dilemma, right? Because you don't want Travis Kelce to be, just in the game to block. You want him to be running down the field trying to score touchdowns. That's the ideal situation. If not even running down the field, at least, to be the guy, at least be down the field so you can be a decoy. But at the same time, Travis Kelce right here, if he's not in the game to block, well then, it makes it easier for Bosa to pass rush. So what do? Well, little things like this can definitely help. Watch as you see Kelce go in motion, so you see Bosa kind of get ready to, pass rush originally, but then all of a sudden, Kelce actually is, he goes back in front of Bosa, but then doesn't rush the passer. So that kind of 1, 2, 3, 4 step thing makes it harder for Nick Bosa. Bosa can't fully do an outside pass rush move like he might want. It limits his moves, and it limits his moves at the last second. Bosa's still winning this matchup. He is, but that's the other aspect, is making sure you don't hold on to the football forever if you're Mahomes. The quicker you get rid of the football, the less the edge rushers matter. And Mahomes can't get rid of the football because MVS was open in the end zone for a touchdown. So all that coming through was definitely a real factor in all this, I would say, by Kansas City and by San Francisco. So, just those little things really are impactful and kind of clever by Andy Reid too. Not something you see too often. And again, there's other reasons why it's valuable, right? Of course. It can help kind of create confusion with the zone coverage behind, all that stuff as well. But, part of it is how it matters with the tackle, which is what happened there. And also something like this, where if Kelce is blocking, doing it in more creative ways as well. Something like this, where you see where he is on the field. I mean, he doesn't look like he's blocking right here. He looks like he's getting ready to run a route. But watch what happens. Watch him just pull off a little bit of a chip and then runs his route, which is, again, just a little bit clever, where it's a little new wrinkle. Yes, it's a chip, right? That's not anything that different, but with him kind of being out further wide, it's more surprising for the edge rusher and made it a little bit easier for him to then go and run his route that he wanted to run. Again, Mahomes got rid of the ball in a second and it was incomplete, so didn't really matter on that play. But just in general, this is what they were able to kind of do to neutralize the the edge rushers a little bit. I talked about in my preview stuff for this game, I said that I think that this matchup might be on paper as bad of a mismatch as the Tampa Bay Super Bowl. It's at least in the ballpark. And I think watching it, that was definitely true. But what I also said in my preview show was that the Chiefs would be much more equipped to withstand that this time than they were against Tampa Bay. Against Tampa Bay, they never even had guys in the block. They had their tackles one-on-one the whole game. It's like, well, yeah, that wasn't going to work. But the Chiefs also did stuff like this, where what's going to happen on this play is you see, there's multiple Kansas City players who are going to kind of be in the way of Nick Bosa. Watch as first Noah Gray, gets in the way, and I can't tell exactly if Bosa goes out wide here by design, like if this was like pre-snap what he was supposed to do, or just with all the traffic in front, he decides to go out and play coverage instead. But at this point, Mahomes is going to notice that Bosa is out there. So Mahomes takes a step in that direction, but then Bosa comes crashing in. I mean, he's literally he's jumping right here. He's like like a dog or something, or I guess a cat would be a better example, just flying towards Mahomes, which is fun. But at the same time, if you're Patrick Mahomes in this moment, it's probably less fun. It's probably a little scary. But this is the other aspect that the Chiefs were able to do. Yes, they helped out their tackles. Yes, the tackles just legitimately stepped up. Yes, the tackles started holding more, which was smart by them, I think. But watch Mahomes sidestep Bosa, gets around it, and still gets the football off. Again, was incomplete. But that was the other aspect of all of this, was just Mahomes being Mahomes and being able to get around the pressure. Because that's another thing that we talk about, is there's a difference between getting past an offensive lineman and getting past an offensive lineman and getting to Mahomes, right? Usually the first step of that's the easiest step. Sometimes this season, at least it has been. But here, there's that other aspect. So yeah, I mean, to me, this was a learning experience from the Kansas City Chiefs, comparing this to the Buccaneers Super Bowl, which, if you remember, that first half went about the exact same way as the Buccaneers Super Bowl did. At the end of the first half, the Chiefs kicked the field goal to make it a one-score game. Now there's that weird thing where Andy Reid called timeouts trying to get the ball back, and then the Buccaneers scored a touchdown at the end of the first half, so that kind of made it a bigger deal. But for at least half of football, it was a close game once again. I think the difference is Tampa Bay got a little bit ahead, and Kansas City stopped helping out their tackles in the second half. This time they said, no, even though we're down, let's make sure that we help out our tackles. Let's make sure that's a conscious effort, in our game, even if it means we can't pass the ball as far down the field. They weren't able to pass the ball as far down the field, but they were able to still, methodically move down the field, which is kind of what they've done all season, and win the game that way. So yeah, really impressive stuff to withstand a weakness in your unit and still have a good offense. It was a good offensive day, like especially in the second half. It was really kind of great offensively. The red zone offense, which was an issue all year, wasn't great, but everything else was really good. So yeah, just an interesting topic of discussion. Figured it'd be worth a video to make about. But yeah, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.